Welcome to this video lecture where we briefly talk about why the AD curve slopes down. There's three reasons, but one is by far the most important, and that's what we're going to focus on in this video. This is part of lecture section SF3. There are three reasons the AD curve slopes downward. All three are discussed at length in the textbook. The first is the wealth effect. If prices are lower and you have $100 in your wallet, then that $100 now can buy more stuff than it used to, so you're wealthier. And since you're wealthier, that means you're probably going to at least consume a little bit more. But as you can imagine, most people are not holding particularly enormous amounts of money, nor is the price level changing by particularly large amounts, at least in the US. So this wealth effect is actually pretty small and not that important. So we're not going to talk about it for the rest of this video lecture. The third effect is the exchange rate effect. When P declines, American goods are cheaper, so there will be more net exports. When P increases, American goods are more expensive to foreigners, as reflected through the real exchange rate, so they're going to buy less from us, and aggregate demand goes down. That's pretty intuitive, but since the US economy doesn't trade that much with the rest of the world, and prices aren't changing that much, this is not considered a particularly important reason why the AD curve slows down. The most important reason is number two, the interest rate effect. That's going to be the focus of the rest of this video. So let's think about what happens to interest rates when the price changes. Suppose that prices increase in the economy. How would interest rates be affected? Well, they're going to be affected in the money market because we're using money supply and demand to determine the short-term interest rates, both nominal and real, since we're holding expected inflation constant. When the price level's higher, people are going to need to carry more money to make purchases. So money demand is going to increase, and we're going to shift the MT curve outward. Let's see how that affects interest rates when we draw a money supply and demand diagram. So we shift from the blue money demand curve to the red money demand curve. Since the money supply we've held fixed, the Federal Reserve is determining the money supply, that's going to drive interest rates up. And now we need to ask ourselves, when interest rates are higher, what's happening to the components of aggregate expenditure? We talked about two in depth, consumption and investment. So pause the video right now and see if you can remember how interest rates affect consumption and investment. A higher interest rate, how it would affect consumption and investment. Okay, thank you for pausing the video. Let's figure out if you got it right. When the interest rate increases, you're going to consume less because you want to save more, you want to get that higher rate of return, and investment is going to decline because now when businesses take out loans to invest, they have to pay more interest, so that makes those loans expensive, and more projects are just not going to be profitable after you take into account the higher interest payments. So what our AD curve is going to look like is that since these two components shrunk, when we have a higher price level, as reflected in P2 at this graph, we're going to have a lower level of aggregate demand, so we're going to shift, we're going to see that on the graph. The aggregate demand went from Y1 to Y2. So here's the questions. The first question just asks you basically to do the process we discussed in this video in reverse. If you can explain how things would work when the prices are lower instead of higher, then you probably have a pretty good grasp on why AD slopes down. If not, then it would be important to rewatch the video or come to office hours and ask questions. I'd especially recommend the second approach. Thanks for watching this video. The answers to these questions are posted on the website.